We often live as though we are building something solid, a fortress of permanence in the shifting sands of existence. But have you noticed that beneath every foundation lies emptiness? This is not a flaw, it is the fundamental truth of all things. Life itself emerges from this vast, mysterious void, a blank canvas upon which the universe paints its masterpiece. The concept of embracing the void may feel unsettling at first, as we tend to equate nothingness with loss, absence, or insignificance. But this perspective misses the profound nature of the void. Far from being an empty or meaningless state, nothingness is the fertile ground from which all life emerges. It is not a void to be feared, but a space to be revered, a space where infinite possibilities exist. Imagine for a moment the silence between musical notes. It is within these pauses that music breathes and finds its rhythm. Without the spaces between, the melody would collapse into noise. Similarly, the void in our lives, the spaces of uncertainty, stillness, or transition, are not meaningless gaps, but the very moments that allow meaning and creation to arise. Embracing the void begins with shifting our perception. Rather than seeing emptiness as something that needs to be filled or avoided, we can begin to see it as a canvas. It is the potential for anything and everything. Consider the night sky. Its vast emptiness is not a negation but a backdrop that allows stars to shine. Without that void, the brilliance of the stars would be invisible. In our own lives, this principle applies just as powerfully. The moments when we feel adrift, uncertain, or incomplete are often the moments when we are closest to transformation. These periods of nothingness strip away the noise and distractions, leaving us with the raw material of being. It is within this space that we can truly listen to ourselves, understand our desires, and move toward authenticity. But to embrace the void requires courage. It demands that we let go of our attachment to constant activity, our need for certainty, and our fear of the unknown. We must resist the urge to fill every moment with distraction or every space with clutter. Instead, we allow the void to exist as it is, trusting in its ability to birth something new. This trust is transformative. When we stop fearing nothingness, we begin to see its beauty. It becomes a source of inspiration, creativity, and renewal. From the void comes art, innovation, and even love. Just as a blank page holds the potential for any story to be written, the void in our lives holds the potential for infinite growth and change. Moreover, embracing the void helps us to reconnect with the flow of life. Life itself arises from nothingness. Every breath we take begins with an exhale, an emptying of air. Every new day emerges from the stillness of night. The cycle of creation and dissolution is woven into the very fabric of existence. So, let us not fear the void, but step into it with open arms and an open heart. In its silence we find clarity. In its stillness we find motion. And in its emptiness we find the fullness of life itself. Life often feels like a battle for control. We strive to dictate outcomes, mold circumstances, and shape the world around us to fit our expectations. Yet the more we grasp, the more elusive control becomes. The truth is, life is far too vast, complex, and unpredictable to be contained by our desires. Letting go of control is not about surrendering to chaos, but about embracing the natural flow of existence and finding freedom in its unfolding. Imagine a river flowing effortlessly toward the sea. Its course is determined by the contours of the land, its speed by the seasons. The river does not resist the rocks in its path, it moves around them. It does not fight the drought, it adapts and waits for rain. We, too, are like rivers. When we struggle to control the uncontrollable, we create friction, frustration, and exhaustion. But when we let go and flow with life's currents, we find ease, resilience, and peace. Letting go of control begins with recognizing the limits of our power. While we can influence certain aspects of our lives, our actions, decisions, and attitudes, many things remain beyond our reach. We cannot dictate the behavior of others, control the outcomes of events, or stop the inevitable changes that life brings. Resisting these truths only deepens our suffering. Acceptance, on the other hand, liberates us. This does not mean becoming passive or indifferent. Letting go of control is not about apathy, but about trust. It is trusting in the wisdom of life itself, in the unfolding of events and in our ability to adapt to whatever comes our way. When we release the need to force outcomes, we make room for possibilities that we could not have planned or imagined. Life often surprises us with opportunities and solutions that emerge only when we stop trying to orchestrate every detail. Consider the art of sailing. A sailor cannot control the wind, but they can adjust the sails to navigate the waters. Similarly, in life, we cannot control the circumstances we face, but we can choose how we respond to them. This response is where our true power lies, not in forcing the world to bend to our will, but in finding harmony with its natural rhythms. Letting go of control also invites us to release the burden of perfection. So much of our need to control stems from a fear of failure, of not being enough, or of losing something valuable. But perfection is an illusion, and holding on to it only stifles growth and joy. By letting go, we give ourselves permission to be human, to make mistakes, and to learn from them. In this release, we find freedom. Freedom from the constant tension of trying to manage what cannot be managed. Freedom to live fully in the present moment, unburdened by anxiety over the future or regret over the past. And freedom to experience life as it is a dynamic, ever-changing journey that unfolds with grace when we allow it to. Letting go of control is not a loss, it is a return to the flow of life itself. Life is a dance of impermanence. Everything we experience, joy, sorrow, love, success, and even our own existence, is fleeting. At first glance, this transience might seem like a source of despair, but it is precisely what makes life beautiful. The temporary nature of all things lends them a unique and unparalleled value. To see this truth and embrace it is to awaken to a deeper appreciation of life itself. Imagine the delicate bloom of a flower. Its vibrant colors and soft petals captivate us, but we know its beauty will not last forever. The flower will wilt and fade, its moment of glory a fleeting one. Yet it is this very ephemerality that makes its existence so poignant and meaningful. If the flower were eternal, we might overlook it, taking its beauty for granted. Instead, its transience compels us to cherish it while it lasts. This principle applies to every aspect of life. Relationships, for instance, are precious precisely because they are not guaranteed. Each shared moment, laugh, or embrace becomes significant when we realize it will not last forever. Rather than clinging to people or fearing their loss, we can approach our connections with gratitude for the time we do have, fully present in each encounter. The same is true for our accomplishments and experiences. Achievements may fade and memories may blur, but this does not diminish their worth. On the contrary, their impermanence heightens their value. The fleeting nature of life encourages us to savor the present moment rather than endlessly striving for permanence. It teaches us to be fully alive in the now, appreciating the subtle and extraordinary details of each passing day. Transience also has the power to transform how we view challenges and hardships. Just as joy is temporary, so too are pain and difficulty. This realization can bring great comfort in times of struggle. Knowing that this too shall pass gives us the strength to endure and the perspective to recognize the fleeting nature of suffering. It reminds us that life is a cycle of ebb and flow, where every moment, good or bad, is part of a larger, ever-changing tapestry. In embracing impermanence, we learn to let go of attachment. We often try to hold on to things, possessions, relationships, achievements, or even youth, believing they define us or bring us security. But clinging only leads to disappointment, as nothing in life is static. Letting go allows us to engage with life more freely and authentically, appreciating each moment for what it is rather than what we wish it to be. Ultimately, finding beauty in transience means recognizing that impermanence is not a flaw but a gift. It invites us to live with intention, gratitude, and mindfulness. It reminds us that every moment is a unique and fleeting miracle, never to be repeated. By embracing this truth, we can fully participate in the dance of life, finding joy not in permanence but in the fleeting, ever-changing beauty of the present moment. At first glance, the concept of nothingness may seem paradoxical or unsettling. How can nothing be everything? How can emptiness hold meaning? Yet when we look deeply into the nature of existence, we discover that nothingness is not a void to be feared, but a foundation from which all things arise. It is the unseen essence that gives life its shape, depth, and infinite potential. Consider the night sky. What we see are stars scattered across a vast expanse of darkness. But without that darkness, without the vast nothingness of space, the stars would have no place to shine. The emptiness is not the absence of existence, but the canvas that holds the entire cosmos. In the same way, the nothingness within our lives is not a lack, it is a source of creation, possibility, and renewal. Nothingness is the starting point for everything. Before a seed grows into a tree, it lies dormant in the soil. Before an artist creates a masterpiece, they face a blank canvas. Before a thought takes form, it emerges from the silence of the mind. This is the essence of nothingness. It is the space where potential resides, the birthplace of all creation. When we embrace this truth, we begin to see the profound interconnectedness of being and non-being. Just as a bowl's usefulness depends on its empty space, our lives depend on the moments of quiet, stillness, and reflection that nothingness provides. In our modern world, we are often conditioned to fill every moment with activity, every space with possessions, and every silence with noise. But in doing so, we risk losing touch with the very source of creativity and meaning. To experience nothingness is to encounter the purest form of freedom. In the absence of expectation, structure, or definition, we are free to explore who we truly are. It is in the stillness of nothingness that we can hear the whisper of our inner voice, unclouded by the distractions of the external world. By embracing this emptiness, we allow ourselves to reconnect with our essence and discover new possibilities for growth and transformation. Moreover, nothingness is a reminder of life's impermanence and fluidity. Just as waves rise and fall on the surface of the ocean, all forms of existence are transient. From the space of nothingness they arise, to nothingness they return. This cycle is not a tragedy, but a testament to the boundless nature of life. It teaches us to let go of attachment and to find peace in the ever-changing flow of existence. Ultimately, nothingness is everything because it is the source from which all things come and to which all things return. It is the silent rhythm beneath the symphony of life, the space between breaths, the pause that gives meaning to motion. By embracing nothingness, we unlock the infinite potential of each moment and come to understand that the essence of life is not in what we hold, but in the ever-unfolding dance of being and becoming. Nothingness is not the absence of life, but its essence, the infinite wellspring from which all things arise and to which all things return. It is the quiet space that holds the symphony of existence, the canvas upon which life's masterpiece is painted. By embracing nothingness, we discover that it is not emptiness to be feared, but fullness to be celebrated. In letting go of control, we find freedom. In recognizing transience, we uncover beauty, and in understanding the interconnectedness of all things, we realize that nothingness is the foundation of everything. To live in harmony with this truth is to live with openness, creativity, and peace. In the vastness of the void lies the profound potential of life itself. When we stop resisting, we can experience the infinite within the finite, the eternal within the transient, and the extraordinary within the ordinary. In nothingness, we discover not loss, but the boundless nature of existence itself.